This segment is sponsored by Heartland Home Mortgage. Some segments of the economy took a beating during the pandemic, but the federal stimulus checks have certainly helped. Interest rates are low and home sellers are still sitting pretty. That is all good news, and experts say it may all lead to one thing: a wave of inflation that could have a chilling effect on our economy. Dave Galloway is the CEO of Heartland Home Mortgage, and he keeps a keen eye on such things. He joins us now to talk about inflation anticipation. Hi, Dave. Good to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Great to see you guys as well.
Yeah, all that good news, and yet some fear the brakes may be put on the economy at some point here. Is that simply because what goes up must come down? We just know that it's eventually going to happen?
I think you've got a little bit of that involved here, but also there's projections that it's not necessarily going to come back down heavy. For those of us that can remember 2008 and 9, maybe through 12, home values really tumbled during that time. That's not the projection now, and there's a myriad of reasons why. A lot of it has to do with just how we're lending, the ability to supply, and at that time, they were overbuilding a lot of homes that really you didn't have buyers for, and then people that were buying necessarily weren't qualified buyers. So while the costs are still pointing up, it does lend itself to some huge advantages because of the weird spot we're in where interest rates are really low right now.
So what would rising inflation do?
At some point, it's got to catch up. The interest rates will have to go up to kind of temper that a little bit. And then the thing to keep an eye on is how fast wages increase with that inflation. So that's kind of that catch-up point where the economy can really hurt if your wages are going up at a slower speed, and they are, because there's not much that can keep up with this inflation right now. Then you can have a negative effect on that. But we don't know just how long the supply chain stuff is gonna take effect, and really what the long term is going to be on that. I mean, if you look at the stimulus packages that were just passed, there's, from a lot of financial advisors are thinking there's enough money in that to really keep the economy churning for 3 years. So just when you think about $6 trillion that's being pumped into it, but also the other effect in that is we have to pay back some of that, right? You've just printed $6 trillion. What effect does that have on the value of that?
So paint me a picture about what this means for the housing and mortgage lending industries. Give me a kind of a snapshot of what you see. And I know it's, guessing at this point, really.
Yeah, you can look at the past, the present, and the future. So if we're going to look at the past, you had higher interest rates, maybe lower cost of homes. So you talk to people now and they say, well, I'm looking at the present, and home values or home costs are kind of expensive right now. So I want to wait that out. Well, in the present, there's never been interest rates this low. So while you may have seen a 20%, 19% jump in the average purchase price of a home in Kent County from last year to this year, your buying power is still really high because of the low interest rates. So when somebody thinks, well, I'm going to wait for the future, I don't know how long somebody wants to wait to buy a home, but we're really not seeing a projection of home values to fall. The appreciation rate may taper off a little bit where you won't see a 19% gain. But if we see interest rates jump by a full percent a year from now, and home values went up by 5%, you're really looking at a lot less buying power. Where currently, with interest rates being so low, even though the cost of that home went up by 20% from last year, you still have great buying power. And then there's, for those that are renting, there's always that, well, how much did you spend in rent every month when you could have been buying and building equity? And rents are going up as well. So the investors that own these homes realize that, well, these homes are worth more than, so they are raising the rent on people. So it is pretty tough for people to find a deal from a house payment. Yeah,
well, it is an ever-changing thing, and certainly is I guess an exciting time for the work that you do, and getting people into homes. So that's good. Dave, thank you for that. And if folks want more information about Heartland Home Mortgage or to contact you, they may visit hhmlending.com, and we'll put a link to it on our site, 13onyourside.com. Thanks, Dave.